Hey everybody, it's Rollie. So if you're catching the replay, hashtag replay, let me know that you are joining me. And so I am jumping on just to ramble. So I haven't done one of these in a while, and I tagged Lonnie specifically because when I first started doing these ramblings, Lonnie would be looking forward to them, and I was kind of doing them a little more frequently. And so as I was getting things set up for the event pages on the different classes and things that we offer at Bridging the Gap Wellness Center, is that I came across the one video where and it happened to be like kind of playing in the background, and it was, "Hey Lonnie, this was for you." So I just thought that I would tag Lonnie. So I just wanted to jump on to say, hey Melanie, what a beautiful painting that you donated for the prizes for everybody that participated. And and I know that you also participated in the scavenger hunt yesterday for our grand opening. Hey, Esther. So it's actually really kind of cool that you dropped off a donation, because I didn't even know that you were dropping off a donation until, because I guess it was Mel that had reached out to you. And so, I mean, Steph that reached out to you, Mel. And hey, Dakota. And so it's just been an incredible, today I'm tired. Today I'm completely drained. I had all of this spunked up energy all week. And it was, so like, even when I was tired, I was still energized. And so, and then I was like, not so energized. And so yesterday I actually shared, I think it was on this page, that I actually shared, that I went out for a couple of drinks, and I don't, I very, very seldom drink. So I think probably I can't even remember the last time that I drank, which was probably about a year ago. I'm guessing probably, like, I don't know, because I really don't drink very often. And so Brooke had said, "Oh, it would be nice to be able to go out for drinks." And I'm like, "Well, then let's go." And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so then Sheldon was sitting there, and he said, "If she's saying that she wants to go out for drinks, I would take her up on that offer, because she does not do that very often." And so we checked with Casey to see if he wanted to join us, and he didn't want to. And Sheldon didn't want to join us. So it was just the two of us. And so we went down to Lac Tuc Ton, which is the first time that I've had the opportunity to be able to go down into Lac Tuc Ton. So every time that I have tried to get down there, it's either been busy or something's happened that we just haven't been able to get in and or get down there. And so, like, they're literally four doors down. Three doors down. So they are 3 doors down. And so we got to sit out on the patio, and so it was really great. And so I ordered 2 drinks right off the hop. And so then they brought the drinks in, and so we were talking about what it is that we were going to order. And Brooke says, "You do realize that these are doubles, right?" And I'm like, "They are? Really? Uh-oh, then I'm going to be in really big trouble, because like usually 1 drink knocks me out, 2 is like completely." And so technically I was having 4. And so then we went back to the center to have some more drinks afterwards. And so then Brooke, and we had somebody come in and meet up with us after they were done work. So we were having some drinks. I could barely even get through my next drink after that. And so then at one point it was like, "Okay, guys, I'm done. I'm going to bed. I can't function anymore." So I headed off to go to sleep, and they continued on and enjoyed their evening. So I don't know till what time, because I was already gone. I think it was like 11:30. I was like toast. And so then I woke up early this morning, And then I did a couple of things, and then I went back to sleep for a couple more hours, and then I've been kind of going since. And then somewhere around supper time, I was starting to lose steam again. So I I curled up on the couch to have a little bit of a snooze while I continued to zone in and out of the Oracle Palooza with Colette Baron-Reid. And so when she was actually doing her laser coaching, which was amazing, and I wish that I could have stayed 100% focused on the whole thing. So I'm really looking forward to the replay of those. Actually, I don't know if those get replayed, but hopefully they do, because her insight was great. And so Barry, and I don't know who Barry is specifically, other than she has been the MC for the event, and so I don't know what her role is, because I wasn't there yesterday because we were busy with the grand opening, first anniversary, and so it was kind of interesting. So, but it was so I don't know who she is. So I have to actually, I'm going to send a message out to see if I can get some more information on her, because I'm sure that they introduced her at the beginning as to who she was and what her role was, other than being MC. So bonjour Diane. And so yesterday was incredible, though. We had a number of different people. Even though we had the restrictions, there were still so many people that came in, and Brooklyn had offered, so the Divine Crystal Healing Shop had offered 10% off on anybody who came into the shop all day yesterday. And so like it was, and it was great. So it was just easy for her to be able to, because we programmed it into the system for her so that it was an automatic done thing, so that she didn't have to try and remember to add in the 10% off. But it was incredible. It was incredible to see the number of people, and to be able to see the replay of the tour with the chamber. And I did do the tour, like I did do another tour just before that, and to have like all the paintings on the murals, I mean on the doors, like all the murals on the doors, and thanks to Pam. So it's been a roller coaster all week. It's been a positive roller coaster, not a bad thing, because the website still, both websites are not working properly. Well, not working properly. So the one for the center, we've actually transferred it over into its own website, so that one there is being developed. And then the one where, so my website, because we've been having difficulty with getting the pieces parts to talk to each other for the membership site, and this has been ongoing for 2 years that we've had some difficulty. We finally had everything all in place and thought that we were going to be able to move everything forward, and we were still running into some glitches. Hey Cheryl. So we were still running into some glitches, and so we finally I finally reached the right person, who was then able to indicate what the issues were and why it wasn't working. And so needless to say, it wasn't compatible. So then we've come up with a new system, but that new system, when we integrated it, wiped out my entire first page on my website. So like now my website doesn't have any details of anything. So we're working on that. So we're trying to get everything ready with the grand opening, and trying to get the website stuff going, and trying to get the building ready, and like all these things. And so we were up late on Thursday to get things cleaned up, just because there was like so many other things, because we really haven't been using the center because we've been shut down since March. And so getting rooms cleaned up and getting the rugs just kind of freshened up, not that they needed to be washed specifically, but just kind of getting a fresh cleanup, and getting some dusting done, and all those other things. And but yeah, so it's been busy, and it's so today was my first day that I got to just do. a whole lot of nothing. So I did do some things, like obviously anybody that knows me knows that I don't just sit. So and if I'm just sitting, then I'm sleeping. So, and even then my wheels are turning. Hey, Lillian, my wheels are turning. Hey, Lillian. So if you're watching, if you are not just popped up, there is somebody who was asking about if we are going to have somebody offer a raindrop here in the Wellness Center. So I know that we had talked about it pre-COVID and there was some conversations about it. So I don't know whether or not that is still something that you're interested in, but somebody specifically asked for that yesterday during the tours and the conversations. They were actually specifically asking about raindrop. So if that is something that you are still interested in, if you're actually listening, then reach out to me. But in case you're not, I'm going to write myself a note to reach out to Lillian. Got some time to relax. Yes, actually, and I knew that I was going to have some time to relax today because today was, I signed up for Oracle Palooza with Colette Baron Reed. And so I've got a new deck that I'm going to be using tomorrow. And I know that you've asked for a card for tomorrow. But it's, yeah, so it was, so I knew that I was going to have some time. I purposely made sure to block off the calendar for the entire weekend so that I actually have the entire weekend. So tomorrow is some more of the Oracle Palooza. Sheldon is doing some work for Jeremy's room tomorrow after he is done work. And so him and Casey are going to do some things. So we're going to still be here and doing some work tomorrow. And then on Monday, we're going to meet up with, so other than, we're not doing anything other than going to connect with, I'm going to go connect with somebody on Monday to potentially use space to be able to offer some other kind of workshops here locally. So, as well as doing stuff in the center, obviously, but she has like just the way that she's described it, I can't wait to go and take a look at it. So we're going to take a look and see about some of the space that to be able to offer some other stuff. And but yeah, so but I'm definitely going to reach out to Lillian. So Lillian, because I'm going to end up forgetting. Raindrop. So Lillian actually offered raindrop during our women's conference here in Halebury. And so this person didn't actually see her, but knows about raindrop and was really hoping to be able to find somebody. And I know that there are a couple of other people here that offer it in different places, but somebody specifically had asked about doing it here. And Lillian had, we had actually talked about having her come up and offer raindrop here. So one of the things that, yeah, so it's just been, yeah. So it's been a very interesting, and I say that in a very positive light. It's been a very interesting journey in the last couple weeks. And my body physically was exhausted today. And so it was really nice to be able to just have that quiet downtime. And like I said, I was still doing stuff because like that's just who I am. And so I was getting some, so hey Shauna, hey Lynn. So one of the things that I was working on was all the events. So what I used to do is on the Wellness Center's page is that we used to have events, all the event pages going. And when COVID happened is that we didn't actually cancel the all of the events in the system. Simply because like initially we didn't do that because we didn't really know what was happening and that kind of thing. So we didn't cancel all of the events in the on Facebook, on the Facebook event pages. And so and I actually ended up with a very nasty message from someone who and I honestly, I did ignore that message. So somewhat I did respond to her, but I mean, I just kind of took what she said with a grain of salt, because one of the things that she had said is like, I can't believe that you're not canceling all of these events. And I'm like, Okay, anybody who has registered for any of my, like any of the events that were happening in the center or that were going on, they've been notified. And anybody who did sign up, they were all notified as to what it was that was going on and what was happening and that kind of thing. You're feeling much better today. Good. I'm really glad to hear that, Chakota. So, and so so she had sent off this message saying like how disrespectful it was and how she was never going to follow me again. She's been following me for over a year, and I can't believe that you're still, you're not taking all of this stuff seriously and not shutting down. And at that point, we were 2 weeks. We were on a 2-week, like, we don't know what's going on after 2 weeks. And so it wasn't until the end of April when we actually canceled all of the events formally, because we didn't really know what was happening. But we still did do some online stuff. And so anybody who still had registered or was registering was notified about being able to still do things online. But this lady was like quite nasty about it. And so even though we were doing stuff online, rather than try and then we had another couple of messages, they were kinder messages, mind you. And so they were good with when I explained, like, no, this is what we're doing. We don't really know, like, we're going week to week, basically. I think we were going 2 weeks at a time at that point. Hey, Donna. And so we were just kind of going with whatever. And so, like I said, but that lady was like quite, she made the statement. She sent it to our to the business page, and then what she did was she actually blocked the business page and me personally, so I couldn't even respond. She put that out there and then didn't even let me have a chance to respond. And then, but she also sent it by email, so I ended up so I did respond back to her by email. And I said, so people who get registered, they know that this is what's going on. And if the dates are postponed, or if we've switched off to doing it virtually, like, they've been notified. And and her response to that was, oh, I'm so glad that you were doing that. And how did she put it? Something, so glad that you're doing that. And I didn't realize that it was false advertising. I'm like, okay, then. So I'm really glad that you've blocked me and that you're not joining me and that you're not participating, because, like, you're definitely not my kind of people. And so so it was kind of interesting that was the energy that this lady put out. But anyway, so the point of the story is, as I did when we knew for sure that we weren't moving forward, which I think was like near the end of April, that we knew for sure that it wasn't just a couple weeks at a time. When they went from doing like a couple of weeks at a time to like it's now shut down for a whole month, is when I went back and started like canceling them, just to make things more simpler, because at that point there was a lot of things that I couldn't continue to offer at all, just because of the different things. So now that we have our practitioners are coming back, Jeremy has joined us on the team, and he's here full time. Or building to full time. And so he starts on August 11th. And that week he's actually considering opening up some other spots for that. And then Wendy, of course, is coming back to offer her first clinic date, August 8th, which is next weekend. And I'm looking forward to my follow-up with her, as well as the foot detox on the Friday evening. So, because I haven't had a foot detox since, I don't even know if I had one I don't remember if I did one at the women's conference, because I don't know if I had time. So if I didn't have one at the women's conference, which was in March, then I haven't had one since February. So, and I was doing that on a monthly basis. And when Wendy was coming bi-weekly for a little bit, then I was having one often enough. So it was, so I'm looking forward to that, which is on Friday. And then Dana has set her date. Poor Dana. So she did her intro, everything at the women's conference. People got to meet her at the women's conference, and then her date got postponed. She was one of those dates that kept getting postponed, and so then she was one of the ones that we said, okay, like, let's just cancel the date, because like obviously this isn't working at this point until we have further notice as to what it is that was going on. And then, yeah, so then there was, so she's coming on September 4th. And so all of my services, a lot of them are being offered. Some of them are still only in person, which are some of the ones that were completely postponed. And so they are starting to happen again. So a day of healing from the inside out is one of the ones that are happening. And so that one there has, so we were supposed to have 8, we're down to 4 people. So I've actually set 4 dates because the people who had registered before, I wanted to make sure that they had a number of different dates that they could actually choose from, because when they chose their date specifically, they chose their date because that date specifically worked for them. And then we had postponed it to April. Hey, Miss Trey. So they had postponed it till April, and then and then when April came, it was like, okay, we're canceling until further notice. And so it was postponed until further notice. So now we have 4 dates. So it'll be on Sundays. It's always 10 to 3, just because it gives a good break. And I do them on Sundays because I don't have any other commitment. I do have some client time that I sometimes do on Sundays. So I have, I think, like 2.5 hours blocked off for client time. But so obviously on those particular days, I don't have client time because I'm doing the workshop. But yeah, so those ones there. So there's 4 dates. And I don't want to quote the dates because I don't remember what they are, because I'm going to end up forgetting or getting them wrong. But anyway, that wasn't the point of all of this anyway. So there's really any point when I'm actually just rambling. I'm a crazy person because it's just whatever it is that comes to mind. So when I squirrel during this time frame, I'm allowed to do that because, like, not that I'm not allowed when the other times, because that's just who I am. So somebody was talking about that the other day. They're like, I can't remember. Oh, I remember who it was that said something now. And so she was talking and she's like, yeah. And so my mom was saying, like, so what is she talking about now? Like, where did she go? What's happening now? So squirrel, yeah, that's definitely me. And so we laugh about the fact that I've never been specifically diagnosed with ADHD, but we know that I definitely have ADHD. And my son has confirmed it. So he has officially diagnosed me with ADHD. And because he does have ADHD and he has been diagnosed with ADHD. And so he's like, where do you think I get it from? And I'm like, I know. So, but yeah, that's definitely where things are at. But yeah, so it's been great. It has been a great week. It has been a fabulous time. So a lot of the things that we are doing, that I'm doing at the center, I am still doing both virtually and online. That's where I was actually going with that point, is that I'm doing both. Because the spaces are still limited in terms of inside. So we can have, technically we can have up to 50 people inside, but they have that we still need to be able to maintain that social distancing. And so that and there's different protocols and stuff that's in place. So obviously and not that I would have 50 people in that room anyway, but we just want to make sure that there's more. And so when we're doing a day of healing, for example, our yoga mat is one of the things that we have. And so we need to make sure that there's enough room for all of the yoga mats, which still allows us to be able to have space, so that we have that going on. So, and I know that that our admin email received a couple of other people who caught the deadline of making sure that they sent out a notice for the cutoff for the special. So if they were new, 50% off. And if they were current clients, so they got the 100% off. And they followed the instructions. And so there were a couple of people that sent me private messages and said, my response was, there are instructions on how to be able to access that. And so, and I didn't say what it was. And so I didn't say you need to go and send an email to the admin email before the end of the day yesterday. And so a couple of people actually listened to what I said yesterday when I was actually jumped on a live, and they did. They actually went and read the instructions, because even on that, I still didn't say what it is that needed to happen. And so a couple of people actually did that. And part of me wants to be able to go back to the people who sent me the messages and said, hey, this is what you need to do. And like, okay, well, we're still going to go ahead and give you the codes. But that's not fair to the people who read the instructions. And so, because oftentimes, and not just my posts, but other people will not necessarily read posts. You see that on buy and sell sites. You see that on different business page posts. And so the instructions are there. You know exactly what it is that you need to be doing if you read the post. A lot of people don't read the post. And so then they're like, okay, well, where is this? What time is that? What's happening here? And so I purposely made sure to put it in the post as to what the instructions were. And so in fairness to the people who actually went and read the instructions, and including people who went back to find those posts and do that, my answer has to be no. And one of the things that we talked about, and I can't remember which class that we were in or which session that we were in, but one of the things that we talked about was that setting our boundaries and making sure that we are adhering to our boundaries and doing the things that we need to be doing for our boundaries, because we oftentimes always give in to other people. And so, and I'm guilty of it just as much as everybody else. It's like, oh, well, they don't really know technology very well. And oh, well, and it's like, that's not my issue. That's not my issue. If they have the trouble with the technology, or if that is the trouble that they're having, then they need to reach out for that help. And they need to be able to ask for that help. And a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people struggle with doing the registration sometimes. Tracy often is. So she'll actually register for something. I'm not sure if she's still on, but she'll register for something and then send me a message immediately and say, did it work? And I'll either say yes or no. And so if it's no, then we go back and we troubleshoot and figure out what step was missed for it to happen. But if you're having some difficulty and you're not able to get through, putting out a message saying it's not working. And I've actually had a couple of people who the codes weren't working, and thankfully that they actually went back and said, okay, it's not working. It's not, I don't know what it is that's happening. Because one of the things that I offered was free healing sessions. And so it was a 15-minute healing session. The first part of it was, and I did them both virtually and in person as well, made those available. And so people were able to do like 5-10 minutes of an intro and an explanation as to what it is. And then they were able to, and then I would do the session, and then they would come back. And if there were people that were already familiar, then it's going to be like a really quick, and then they get a longer session, and then the end follow-up right at the end. And so, but that link wasn't working properly. And so, but with everything that was going on, we didn't test the links. Because normally one of the things that I do is go back and try and test the link. And so long as it's working from my end, then we kind of go with it. Doesn't mean that there's still no technical glitches, but we work on that and get those things going. And, but yeah, so it's been interesting. It's been interesting how sometimes even I forget to be able to set those boundaries. And one of the things with the workshop today, with the Oracle Palooza, one of the things that they talked about was the importance of boundaries. And again, I know it, right? So I know it, I teach it, I work with clients on it. It's, and from the other side, it's easy to be able to say, no, like, just set the boundary and be done with it. And I can walk you through the guilt part of it, and we can talk about those emotions and those feelings that come up with it. But sometimes from the other side, it's harder for us to do. So, but yeah, that's kind of where, but yeah, so it was just a really nice reminder. And so I'm looking forward tomorrow to pull cards, because I'm going to be using my new deck. So it's called the Oracle of the Seven. And so I don't have the deck itself in front of me, but the Oracle of the Seven energies. And so, and she actually talks about the different energies, and it's like really, really cool. So she actually did like, Working with the Oracle of the Energies journal. And so it actually talks about the different energies. And this journal, and I don't know whether or not we can actually order this journal, if it was only special to the Oracle Palooza, but I'm going to look into it anyway and see whether or not we can actually, I'm going to see if Brooke can actually order it in. But it actually talks about like the energy affirmations and and then it has like energy 1, what the key concepts are, writing prompts. So it actually has some different writing prompts, like really cool. Excuse me. It's a really cool journal. And then of course it has all the blank journal pages. So I'm going to take a look and see what it is that, oh, actually look at that. She's got little affirmations on each one. I really didn't, I didn't notice that. So not on every beginning of the pages, but she's got some blank pages where you can actually draw if you want to. So they're just blank, no lines. So yeah, so like that was one of the gifts in the Oracle Palooza box. And then it has like meditation at the back, and it has like the different kinds of spread. Yeah, so like really cool. But I'm going to be pulling from these cards tomorrow when I pull cards, and but I'm going to be doing it a little earlier. So normally I do it at 11, usually roughly about 11, but I'm going to be around 10 after 10 tomorrow, so that I have time to do that, because Oracle Palooza starts again at 11 and it only goes till 4:30 tomorrow. So I'm going to jump in and do that. But yeah, so it has been, yeah, so those are my ramblings of a crazy person today. So, and Lonnie's going to catch me later. Hey, hey, Betty. Lonnie's going to catch me later and on the replay, because she always does. And so we will we'll go from there, and I will talk to everybody later. Have a great evening, and enjoy this beautiful sunshine for anybody that's in our area. And I will talk to everybody soon. Bye for now. See ya.